Do you see those special light blue accents on the Toyota badge on the front of this 2019 RAV4? Well, that's your first hint that this is not an average RAV4. It is in fact a 2019 RAV4 XLE hybrid, who offer a hybrid powertrain which adds not only these special light blue Toyota badges, but also an electric motor on the rear axle and a ton of really cool technologies and features that you're not going to find in the base RAV4. In today's video, I'm going to walk you guys around everything you need to know about the RAV4 XLE hybrid, such as the exterior and interior features and the powertrain and technology and performance specs. So let's get right into the video. Now, the majority of the changes you're paying for with the RAV4 hybrid trim level occur here with the powertrain of the car, that 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine, which produces in this base model 203 horsepower and I believe somewhere around 154 pound-feet of torque, which is not terrible. It also gets a combined 30 mpg, which is not bad in terms of fuel economy, but that hybrid motor, they've added an electric motor on the rear axle, just takes this performance and brings it up to another level, adding 16 horsepower, an extra 250 pounds of towing capacity, and 40 combined mpg. Plus, as you saw in the interior, because the electric motor is on the rear axle, it's all-wheel drive, so you've got more drive modes inside the car and more technology in general. In terms of the exterior, I think all around the 2019 RAV4 has a very good-looking, very aggressive and off-road styled exterior design, but there are a couple small things that I really don't like out here. Now, starting off in the front of the car, in terms of the features, it does come with standard LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, so a very sharp look up there, very good nighttime visibility. You've also got a redesigned, kind of snout-like Toyota hexagon patterned matte black mesh grille up there. Obviously, it's going to help pull in air to cool those radiators, to keep that 4-cylinder powertrain cool, but it kind of extends forward from the rest of the front fascia and looks like some sort of snout. It's not a bad design, but it is very aggressive and somewhat unique and interesting. But that pretty much covers everything on the front of the car. Moving along to the side, this is where we're going to see the main things that I have complaints about, because it does come with some really aggressive matte black mudguards over the wheel arches, but they stopped in the areas where I think you would get the most rock chips. So right here behind the front wheels, we've got a gap between these mudguards where I'm gonna guess right here, just gonna estimate, that's probably where the majority of rock chips are going to happen. So I'm not sure why they didn't just fill that gap and make it all mudguard. But it does make for a very aggressive and off-road style for the car, and it does come with a few different options for the wheel styles, whether you want 17, 18, or 19-inch alloy wheels. I believe this model has the optional 5-spoke 17-inch wheels. Not the best design, but it does provide a little bit of good contrast to this optional cherry red Toyota color here that looks very good out in the sunlight. Now, there are two more complaints for this side of the car, and one of those comes in with this floating roofline. Now, a floating roofline is this new design element, I guess you could call it, that many manufacturers are using to make the car look a lot smoother on the side. Toyota kind of went with that design, but kind of didn't. They kind of went with a half design, if you get what I'm saying. It just looks like they just slapped a little gloss black trim piece right there and said, done, it looks great. But to me, it feels like they cheaped out a little bit. They could have gone with this whole panel being gloss black, and that would have looked a lot smoother. This just kind of interrupts the flow of the car, and it doesn't look like a floating roofline that all the luxury manufacturers are using. And even worse, they went even farther with that design and integrated another matte black trim piece right here on the A-pillar to kind of continue that floating roofline effect. And it just looks like it's cheap and half done and doesn't look very good. But the great design continues in the rear of the car, where we have standard LED tail lamps, dual chrome exhaust tips, a little bit of an aggressive spoiler lip, and an optional power liftgate. All right, now I'm here in the 2019 RAV4's interior, and first things first, this car is very easy to get in and out of. It comes standard with a cloth interior, a 6-way manual adjustable driver's seat, and a somewhat rubberized, plasticky, urethane-wrapped 3-spoke Toyota steering wheel. However, this model, again, is the upgraded XLE hybrid model, so you get a couple nice luxury features such as 8-way power adjustable driver's seat, a leather-wrapped 3-spoke steering wheel, and gear selector, and a variety of different really cool technologies that we're going to get into in just a minute. But starting off with the design and layout of this interior, up on the dashboard you're going to find 4 well-placed climate vents, as well as a somewhat rubberized leather type textured material with white contrast stitching that really highlights this interior, plus a standard 7-inch infotainment touchscreen that we're going to touch on more in just a minute. Behind the steering wheel you're going to find 2 analog style gauges, again that 3-spoke leather wrapped steering wheel. The center console area is where things begin to get a little bit more fun, as I said before. Optional leather wrap gear selector, as well as the controls for the different drive modes in the car, plus a small pad where you can keep and charge your phone using the optional USB charge port or 12-volt power outlet. Now in the higher models they also offer an available wireless charging system right here on the center console area, and that's a really nice feature if you want to upgrade your interior. You're on the go, you don't want to mess with a tangle of wires in your interior. You just chuck your phone down on that pad, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it'll automatically start charging for you. Beneath all of that, you'll find the accenting chrome plastics, as well as 2 small cup holders and a rather spacious center armrest box with 2 more optional USB charge ports. So the interior of the RAV4 is laid out very well. It comes with a good amount of options and features, and all around, I have to say the build quality is pretty good as well. For just over $30,000, this is a very nice interior design. And unfortunately, this particular RAV4 does not have the optional 8-inch infotainment touchscreen that comes in the higher trim levels, but it does have the standard 7-inch system, and I gotta say, I'm really not that impressed with it. You can clearly see very low resolution graphics. It looks very outdated, like it's from a car 5 years ago rather than 2019, and I was really expecting more from Toyota in terms of the technology. It is a touchscreen, so you can tap on it in a variety of different areas, but there's an insane amount of lag. It takes a good second or two to actually do what you just told it to. So you go back to the menu button here and you want to go into the apps and see what's going on there. You press the button and you gotta wait like a full second or two before it actually shows up on the screen, which is very disappointing because other manufacturers have gotten it down to several milliseconds rather than several seconds. I'm also not a huge fan of the way it's laid out. We have a separate menu for home and menu, so the home screen looks like this, the menu screen looks like this. Some manufacturers actually use a bigger screen and they're able to fit the apps over here, the navigation over here, and sometimes even cram the media in the middle. For example, the new Hyundai Palisade I just reviewed the other week, it's a car that costs $40,000, which is not that much more than this. The infotainment system looks better than my phone does, whereas this looks more like something from the year 2005. Now, on a more positive note, this is not the only technology in the 2019 RAV4. They also offer a small screen down here for the climate controls, as well as a 4.2-inch screen between the 2 analog style gauges. And that's also where you're going to see the different drive modes you've selected show up. So there's a little rotary dial down here. Because this is the all-wheel drive model, we have a few different options, including eco mode, sport mode, normal mode, trail mode, EV mode. That's all controlled here on the center console area and shows up on the gauge cluster, which is also available as a 7-inch digital system. And speaking of optional features and technologies, they also offer an available rear view mirror camera. So rather than just a plain rear view mirror up above the dashboard, it's actually a built-in screen. So it can act like a mirror normally, but you just flip a tab or press a button underneath and all of a sudden it'll show your view out the rear view camera. And I've seen this feature in high-end luxury cars like Land Rover. Now you can have it in your Toyota RAV4 as well. So that's a really nice feature to have. And all around, the associated technologies with the RAV4, really good, but the main feature, this infotainment system, just a little bit disappointing. Now, in the rear seats of the 2019 RAV4, you'll find a surprisingly large amount of headroom and legroom for all the passengers. Even this middle seat right here, which is usually very cramped because there are drivetrain components coming along the middle. Even this seat in the RAV4, very comfortable, very easy to sit in for extended periods of time. It does continue that patterned standard black cloth interior. I would prefer something like a faux leather, but if you want to pay extra for a higher level model, you can have that in here. There's also more climate vents, as well as 2 USB charge ports and a couple of cup holders in the door panels. So the rear seats do have a great design, but this car only seats 5. So you're not going to find a third row behind these seats. What you're going to find instead is the rear cargo area. This model comes with the optional power rear liftgate, and behind that you're going to find the rear cargo area. And there's a decent amount of cargo space back there, and obviously you can fold down these second row seats for even more area to put stuff in. But one thing I noticed that is rather unfortunate is that it's pretty high off the ground. So if you want to get something in that's kind of heavy, you're going to have to do a lot of lifting it over the trunk to get it into this car, which is a little bit unfortunate, but understandable as they have the hybrid system back there. If you want to check out some reviews I've done of similar cars, I'll put a couple of video cards up there on the screen so you can click on those and go see how good the competition for this car is. I'd also like to extend a huge shout out and special thanks to Clearwater Toyota for allowing me to come and review this RAV4 today. I'll put a link to their inventory below. And as always guys, remember to like, subscribe, comment below, and thank you so much for watching.